joined today by Luis, who was a wrestler in the World Championships for Puerto Rico, as well as the Pan Am Games, and is looking to expand into the MMA world. It's going to be guided by Gabriel, the head coach of Team La Perla, and we're so glad that we're going to be able to share your story today, Luis. So we'll start off. We'll start off with Luis. Where were you born, and talk to us about your childhood.
Well, I was born in Caguas, Puerto Rico. I wasn't raised over there. I was raised at Carolina, Puerto Rico. It's close to the airport and close to San Juan. I spent all my childhood over there, Carolina, Puerto Rico, training wrestling. I was on the national team for like 12 years. I did wrestling almost all my life, since 9 years old in Carolina, Puerto Rico. Now I'm living at San Juan, but I'm training at La Perla for MMA right now.
That's awesome. So at age 9, what was your first introduction into wrestling? How were you introduced to the sport?
Well, my coach, Juan Manuel Fernandez, my first coach, he told me on the summer camp, and he saw that I was an active kid. I was always jumping, running, doing a lot of things, and that woke up interest on me. So he talked to my parents, and I started wrestling, and then I never quit. I keep on.
So at age 9, you get introduced to wrestling. Talk to us about your first experience on the mat.
Well, my first tournament, I took second in 2 categories. I was 9 years old, and I took second in 9 to 11 and 12, 13, I think it was.
Very, very interesting.
For my first time.
So how was that transition? You're learning the sport. You continue to move forward at age 9. You're wrestling for a few years. Talk to us about actually competing.
I was competing on the national team?
No, competing early on in your amateur wrestling career there. What were your experiences, travel-wise, your experiences with your toughest opponent? Share some of those with us.
I had a lot of tough opponents here in Puerto Rico at that age when we were like 9, 10, 11, maybe to 15. We had a lot of wrestlers over here in Puerto Rico. Now we don't see that a lot, but we're starting to make moves again and bring some of the childhood to the sport. And well, I started the national team like 15 years old. I went to Nicaragua for my first Pan American Championship. I took third in Greco-Roman wrestling. That was my main sport because there's 2 types of wrestling. There's freestyle and Greco. I was in Greco-Roman. Then I went to another Pan American Championship as a cadet category. I think it was, and I took third again. Later on, I went to a third Pan American Championship, and I took second.
Wow.
Then I started to wrestle in that adult category at the same national team Puerto Rico, and I took second Pan American Championship qualifier for the Olympics. But I didn't qualify. It was the first one. And I took third in a Centeno American Games. And second in another Centeno American Championship.
Wow. So quick jump from age 9 to about what time, what was the time frame between age 9 and then you jumping into trying to qualify for the Olympics? About how old were you? What was the time frame there?
I was like 17 years old my first time, or 18 years old my first time trying to qualify for the Olympics. I didn't qualify though.
Wow. And Coach Gabriel, we're leaving you hanging out there. If you want to chime in and just kind of share your time frame, that That's about an 8-year climb. Now, Coach, I have to ask you, in the wrestling world, obviously you're in kickboxing, you have a vast background as well. What's the time frame there? Is that normal for Luis over the 7 to 8 year period to jump from learning the sport to actually going to qualify for the Olympics? To me, that sounds astonishing.
No, it's not normal. You gotta be God-given athlete to be able to hang at such a top level without really having too much experience. So no, it's not normal for any athlete just to be the most elite of the country in such a little time. And that's one of his assets. He's a God-given athlete. He's very explosive, very very strong. Is very talented athlete. I bet you is the guy that you put him to any sport, and he will be able to be good at it if he puts the time in it.
That's awesome. So, Luis, talk to us about some of those experiences. You're traveling the world, essentially. Within 7 or 8 years, you're trying out for the Olympic team for Puerto Rico. Talk to us about some of those travel experiences and some of those opponents.
But I was trying to qualify to the Olympics at the age of 18 years old. Because at 15 years old, I tried to qualify to the Youth Olympics. It was another type of Olympics, but for the young people.
Yeah.
So I tried to qualify to the Olympics like 3 times. Toughest opponent, always United States. I lost to the finals in the finals in Frisco, Texas, 2012. I lost to Estados Unidos to United States at the finals, and I didn't qualify to the Olympics, for that time. Venezuela, always good opponent, and people from Europe, always tough opponents. German guy, I remember wrestling with a German guy. I was really tough. I won a lot of wrestles, Europe too. When I went with Greece, I wrestled and I won. Kyrgyzstan, I wrestled with and I won. I have wrestled with Japan, United States, Venezuela, Colombia, all America, Europe, Asia, all types of people,
Right.
Different types of wrestling.
And we see the wrestling background transition into the UFC, into Bellator and professional MMA. Was there anybody growing up that you followed in MMA that you would say, hey, I have a wrestling background as such?
Well, I have, all the best fighters on the UFC are all of them are wrestlers. John Jones, Daniel Cormier, Khabib Nurmagomedov,
Cejudo,
Eddie Alvarez, Cejudo.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them, So Matt Hughes for that time. There's a lot of them. So I have seen a lot of wrestles, a lot of wrestles do big things in the UFC and MMA, So right now, jiu-jitsu guy that is not the same as wrestling, but it's almost the same. And right now, Burns just did with me, So wrestling, jiu-jitsu, there's tough people always.
Definitely. So, Coach Gabriel, who would you say Luis's style would emulate the most of a professional fighter that you've seen in your vast experience in the MMA world from his wrestling background with Luis's wrestling?
He reminds me of those. He's a Greco-Roman wrestler, so his thing is controlling the upper body above the waist, and it really reminds me a lot of Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson was a 100% Greco guy that did not had too much experience in the other parts of the game, but just being a given athlete and being able to have that athleticism just makes them good at the rest of they catch up pretty quick with the rest of the other martial arts. Thing with wrestling is wrestling determines the direction of the fight. That means where the fight goes to the ground or the fight keeps standing up. And if you are the fighter that can determine that, the direction of the fight, then that's like the first key to success in a fight. That's the first key to success in an MMA fight, being able to determine where the fight's going to take place. And if you're able to be the one who says where it takes place, then you got a huge advantage over the other one. So yeah, wrestlers. I'm not a wrestler. I don't come from a wrestling background. Um, but the reality is that wrestling it's the most important tool in MMA.
And it's interesting you say that. I ran into Dan Henderson a few weeks back at the Jacksonville show. He's working in Sam Alvey's corner. Great guy, by the way. Dan Henderson's a legend. Another wrestler, Luis, that I'm sure you're gonna look at on some film. Guys, like you said, a guy like Matt Hughes as well. Guys that have transitioned from the wrestling to other parts of mixed martial arts and gotten to the highest level. So talk to us, Luis, about your relationship with Gabriel Lamas, the head coach of Team La Perla.
Well, Gabriel was the first guy to give me the opportunity to make something different than wrestling because I talked to a lot of guys, but always they wanna like make shine their own people and they don't wanna help other people. And Gabriel was the first one to tell me, yeah, come to my gym. Let's see what we can do with you. And I saw him the first time. I think Florida. He was with Angela training over there. So I met him and I told him, hey, I know who you are. So someone told me to talk to you if I wanted to do MMA. So I went and talked to him. And he told me, come to my gym. I'm in La Perla. Just call me and let's see what we can do. So he helped me out. He was the first one to help me out in the MMA world.
Truly awesome, truly a testament to the open door policy at the gym. For all you guys that know, we don't discriminate against anybody. If you are hungry, you want to learn, whether it's jiu-jitsu, boxing, wrestling, the door is always open. So I'm glad that you shared that. And opportunity is everything. That's truly what it comes down to. So talk to us about some of your teammates at the gym as well, Luis.
Well, the guy that I talk the most is Nelson because that's the one that always he's a boxer. And when I started to box, Gabriel told me to box with Nelson, and he's a really tough guy. He's like 10 pounds lighter than me, and he's still he stands in front of me and he want to fight always. So that's the guy that I have to learn with. He's a good, really good boxer. Um, we have a few people there in Domable Martinez. He's a really good guy, boxer, right? Boxer too. Chavito. We have a lot of guys. I talk a lot, that I learn a lot from them on boxing. I try to show them a little bit of wrestling too. Gabriel is the one who showed me all of boxing and jiu-jitsu. So Gabriel is a big part of partner on the gym too.
Right, and just learning different parts of the sport. You have to understand you have to be a five-tool player. You are a wrestler, you have to learn boxing, striking, jiu-jitsu, grappling, all these different parts of martial arts. It's serious. It's a tough transition. And Coach, if you want to chime in and share with us about Luis's time in the boxing ring. Recently last year you guys had an amateur card in La Perla. We had a champion, John Pascal, join you guys as well, which that had to be a heck of an experience. Talk to us about that, Coach.
Yeah, that was a amateur fight card we did in the basketball court of La Perla, the Carmelo Anthony basketball court. Centeno has been boxing for quite some time already, and it was his time to test him, and he had not competed in a long time too. So it was kind of like a good way of getting little rust out, and he did good. He fought a more experienced guy, and they just banged it out, and it was a good fight. having the fight card with Jan Pascal was a really good experience. We are definitely gonna repeat that show, do it again. Jan Pascal is a good friend, and he swings by the gym every time he's in Puerto Rico. So yeah, that definitely was a good show for us. A good way for Centeno to get the rust off. Unfortunately, because all this COVID stuff,
Right.
everything is on hold. But Centeno was supposed to make his professional debut in Combate Americas last April.
Wow.
We were gonna come to Puerto Rico, but like I said, um, she got on the way before that. They had to delay it for the summer for June, and now it's all up in the air. So
Right.
that's what's up.
Might be seeing you guys over here as well because they had some shows scheduled actually down in Miami, I believe this month, then postponed again. So before you know it, Luis could be on Combate Americas. If you guys don't know, essentially equivalent to Bellator. That is a worldwide promotion. That is a level that many do not get to. So, Luis, we look forward to possibly seeing you on their card in the future. So, Luis, if you want to talk to us about some short-term goals you have and some long-term goals you have with your mixed martial arts career.
Well, short term, I was trying to make my debut, as Gabriel already said, to Combate Las Americas, but as the curfew just happened, so this is up in the air, as Gabriel said. So right now, we're just waiting for the curfew to end, and then trying to make my debut. Then I would love to go to the UFC, signing by Dana White or something like that. That's the main goal for every MMA fighter. But for now, I need to start with my debut and do something, first, and then we're gonna reach that goal.
Truly awesome. You guys will get there. Stay positive. So as we transition, Luis, to outside of the wrestling mat, outside of the octagon, talk to us about some of your passions and interests.
Well, I'm a really busy guy. I like to do a lot of things. I like to train the most. I always work out in the morning. I wake up and I'm training already. Then I started to work. I like to do music things. I work with music, like manager, production, some different things. That is on my life basis, on music and sports. That's
That's
all I do: train and work with music.
talk to us about your music career as far as your management. I've heard
Well,
some good stuff.
well, I'm a road manager right now. I've worked with guys like Wayna, Liano, and I have a new project right now with a girl that is rising on the music world. So yeah, that's management is all I do, and production things like that.
Very cool. Very
But for
cool.
now, training because we cannot do events right now. So
Right. Well, we look forward to
that's great a
you
little bit.
continuing your music career. Um, Another part of Luis that some of you may not know that outside of the wrestling matter at the octagon, he's big into music. So we look forward to you progressing in your music career. So Luis, as we wrap up today, if you'd like to talk to us, we have the fast facts. Favorite place you've wanted to visit?
The favorite trip that I haven't visited yet. Um,
Sorry to interrupt, but Centeno travels all over the world all the time, so um, I'm sure he
There's
has
not too many
places
on that
where
list,
he
huh?
wants to go.
There's got to be
yeah.
one place.
Well, I think I never went. I have never go to Jordania
Wow. Okay.
to the missing castle. I think it's called. Is it
Interesting.
called something something like that? Yeah, I like that. But I have traveled to a lot of places.
Yeah, I see that. Thanks, Coach, for chiming in. That's a hard question, huh? So, what's your favorite food, Luis?
My favorite food. Well, I like Puerto Rican food, rice with beans and chicken, fried chicken,
So you're staying home with
or
that one.
maybe pork. Yeah, yeah, or pork ribs with maybe batata, yuca, things from the backyard.
That's great.
Avocado.
The healthy stuff. So talk to us.
Yeah.
Who is your favorite fighter right now?
Right now, I have a lot of them. I like John Jones a lot. Khabib because he's a wrestler. He's sambo wrestler, most than other thing, but he's a wrestler.
Right.
Nate Diaz, he's crazy, man. He's really crazy. I
Interesting
like him a
guy.
lot.
Interesting guy.
Yeah, yeah, Jorge Masvidal, really tough guy.
For sure.
I'm starting to like Burns. I saw how he fought yesterday.
Very
Really good.
impressive. He's been on a tear since he got
impressive.
into the UFC.
Yeah,
On
yeah.
a tear. I think it's like 5 or 6 straight he's won.
Yeah, yeah. So Matt Hughes, he's a legend. There's some Pierre, I like him a lot. He's retired already, but
Definitely.
pretty good fighter.
Learn a lot from those guys, watching them on film for sure. What's something most people don't know about you?
Excuse me?
What's something most people don't know about you?
Something that people don't know about me.
Is that a tough one?
You got me on that one. Yeah, yeah.
Coach, you
People
can chime in.
don't know about me.
That's a tough one. Okay.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up today, and Coach, you're going to chime in as well. What would you like to share, Luis, and then in Gabriel, with young fighters that are up and coming in the sport or have an interest in getting into mixed martial arts? First, Luis, and then Coach.
Well, yeah. Well, you have to train a lot, You have to love it because you have to wake up at 6 a.m., maybe 5, and then, go to sleep like 9 p.m. because you have to wake up early and train all day. It's a really sacrifice sport, so if you want to do it, you have to train a lot, and you really have to want it.
And Coach, what would you like to chime in on that?
Unfortunately, we live in an era right now that the gyms are empty. In between the trainers, I don't really call it like this, but in between the trainers, they call them the era of the pussies. I don't know what's wrong with this new generations. That's not my opinion that this generation is a bunch of pussies, but this is how the boxing community in Puerto Rico expresses about not just the boxing community, also like the martial art community. This era, I don't know why there's not that many people with a want to be a fighter. Maybe it's the technology, maybe it's too much distractions with the phone and the technology. I don't know what it is, but unfortunately, for these new fighters, my advice will be look up to the old generation of fighters. Look up to all those fighters who used to sacrifice a lot to I will say look at how common it is to be a fighter 10 years ago. Look at that. Like 10 years ago and past 10 years ago. Look at those fighters. Because the reality is fighters from now are too civilized, too comfortable. Maybe that's part of there's great fighters out there. I'm not saying they are bad or anything. It's just the gyms are not full. So if you're a young fighter, man, talk to your buddies, hook them up, tell them it feels great to train because the reality is our sport by no means is dying or is gonna die.
Right.
Our sport is just gonna keep growing and growing and growing. But definitely, at least in this country, I'm talking for Puerto Rico, not the rest of the world. We need the kids in the gym. We need more kids in the gym. Just to let you know, this is a statistic, not my opinion.
Okay.
5 years ago, there couldn't be more than 25 fights in an amateur fight card. Why? Because we won't get out of there. The fights will start and they will end so late because there will be 40 something fights matched up. And those are fights that were matched up on the same day. Wow. Now, it's hard to make a fight card. You need at least 8 fights to make the fight card happen. So from 5 to 8 fights to make the fight card happen. And there's a lot of fight cards that you go to that they only match up 2, 3 fights, and they just cancel the whole thing.
Wow.
Not because of COVID. I'm talking before COVID. I'm talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years from the present day. So definitely, we need something to boost up these kids. So that's what's going on regarding that.
And we appreciate you sharing that, Coach. Luis, as we wrap up, and chime back in on what Gabriel was saying, truly a lot of distractions, the technology per se, and obviously with your, Luis, with your career thus far and having to kind of put it on pause right now, I want you to stay positive, keep the course. I know you're going to persevere and get into your career, and we're going to see you on TV in the near future. So we look forward to that, and appreciate both of you joining us today. What would you like to say to those during these tough times, Luis?
Excuse me?
What would you like to say to those that are tuned in and the fans? What would you like to share what's your message to them during these difficult times?
Well, we have to stay together. We are in the social distancing right now, but we have to stay together by the phone, like with the families, with the people that we love. I'm still training, so I recommend the people to still training so they put their mind on other things that is not only, the curfew and what to eat, what to do, what you can train and you're gonna do something different, than just looking at the TV, listening to the radio. So training is a really good thing for a lot of, things for your body, for your mind. So
right. And that's awesome. The mental side of it's very key. Very key that you said that. Something during these tough times that we're sitting in the house, we need to keep working out. Keep the mental side fresh as well.
Keep working out.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that, Luis. And Coach, what would you like to share with those tuning in today and fans, friends, and family? What would you like to share with them during these difficult times?
Well, keep tuning to the Sunday sit-downs with Eddie Ramos so you don't get bored on Sundays. Follow us through Instagram. And feel free to swing by whenever this thing is over. I heard from the DRD that probably gyms are going to be opening in July. We're not too far away, so hang in there. And let's keep rocking. Let's keep doing this.
That's awesome. Yeah, and we'll keep you guys posted. A lot of people have chimed in and asked when the gym is going to open. Team La Perla Boxing and MMA Gym in La Perla in San Juan, Puerto Rico. We'll definitely keep you posted as soon as the door is open. We always have an open door policy. So you're welcome to come stop by the gym anytime. We accept everyone, no matter what level. It's always an open door policy. And I thank you, head coach Gabriel Lamastis, MMA fighter Luis Centeno. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the Sunday Sit Down series. Stay safe, stay blessed.
Thank you, Eddie.
All right, you guys take care.
You too, bro.